Okay, the first thing that you want to do when you go to make your design is to decide where the center of your design is. So if you follow the arrows that are marked on either side and you follow those, that's as close to the center as I get. So I colored that in with a little purple colored pencil. You don't have to, but that's how my reference, I know where that is. So I'm actually going to start with this symbol here, which is green. So when I decide my center, I will go 6 to the right of that. But before you actually start stitching, you have to get your thread ready. So this is my thread color that I'll be using. And we're going to be using 3 strands of thread. So in order to get those threads out, what you're going to do, instead of just dividing the thread that comes in your kit, which is 6 strands, into 2, you're going to pull each one out individually, just like that. And just pull it all the way out. And you can't see this part, but then let it dangle from your finger. So that's 1. That's 2. And then you get 1 more. And that's 3. And then what you're going to do with these threads is you're going to take them, after you've let them all dangle and untwist, you're going to put them back together. What this does, rather than taking 3 from the original floss, is it makes them a little bit thicker and less twisty. So you're going to take those all together like that and make a new strand of 3. And then I'm going to use a threader here. I'm going to show you the package. This is the package that it comes in, in case you're interested in getting one. It's made by Yarnology. I got this at Hobby Lobby. It's just called a yarn needle threader. They have different brands, but this is the one I have. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle and right through the eye, it's much easier to get that through a needle than thread. You're going to put the little hook and you're going to pull that right through there, and voila, your needle is threaded. So that's really helpful. So I'm going to set my needle aside for now, and I'm going to take my cross-stitch fabric. Sorry you can't see the whole cross-stitch fabric, but there it is, and I'm going to fold it in half, and then in half again. And you do this in order to get to the center of your fabric. So you just make little crease lines. You open it up, and there's the center of my fabric right there. So, since I decided that I was going to start 6 to the left, according to my chart here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I will take the center of my fabric and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to start in that hole right there. Make a little enlarged, and then I come from the back and just poke that in, oops, to where it is. So I'm going to pull my thread through that spot. Oops, pulled it far, too far. I have my thread actually even, which is not a good idea. So I'm going to make it, I don't want that much thread doubled. So I'm just going to make it shorter so that I have more of a triple. So, in counted cross stitch, we don't really make knots, because knots can make the stitching come out uneven. and you don't want that to be uneven. Somehow I got my threads uneven there. I'll just even that up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave a little tail on the back. And you leave your tail in the same direction that you'll be stitching. So I'm going to leave it going to the left on the back so that when I turn it over, I'm going to be stitching to the right. So I'm going to take a stitch there. And I'm going to make all 6 stitches to the right. And that's an important thing that you want to keep in cross stitch is your stitches in the same time. And I'm also going to check on the back side. When I'm coming through with these stitches, I want to catch that tail that I left on the back in my stitches. And hopefully you can see that. I'm going to come across. And probably about every 3, 4, maybe 5 stitches, what you want to do is you'll notice that these start getting a little bit skinnier. And that's because the thread twists. So every 3, 4, maybe 5 stitches, what you want to do, I won't really be able to show you this because of my video limitations. Also don't have my glasses on. Is you want to drop your thread, your needle, and let it untwist. So I'm going to come through here and do my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, now you can see from my chart here that I've done those 6. So I want to come back, now that I've done my 6, I want to come back and cross those stitches. So I'm going to go to the left and cross over the tops. Wait, what did I do here? Sometimes you make a boo-boo. You can just unthread your needle, thread it back up using either your threader. If you don't want to buy a threader, another good trick is to fold it between your fingers like that. Hold it tight. Throw that in. Get my tails in there. So I'm going to come up in the bottom right corner of my rightmost stitch, and I'm going to cross those all now, going from right to left. Always make your first stitches going from left to right, your crosses from right to left, and this will keep your stitching looking neat and even. Makes it look very nice that way. You don't have to pull tight. There's no reason to pull tight. You don't want your threads hanging, but if you leave it a little bit loose without pulling tight, it gives a little poof to the stitches and makes them look really pretty. Gives it nice dimension. It's one of the beautiful things about counter cross stitch is the dimension that it has. So you don't want to pull so tight that you lose that dimension. Okay, so now I've finished my 6 stitches. And I'm going to look at my chart and I'm going to see if there are any other of these that I need to stitch in the vicinity, and there are, so I'm probably going to come over here and count down here. I'll just bring my thread over to this point here and stitch these and come back this way. Now, if I was going to end here, if you wanted to end this, what you would do is you would turn this over and you would bring your thread through this way and pull that through. And you can come back the other way with a couple stitches too. It doesn't need to be so knotted or anything like that. Just brought through and back, and that'll keep the stitches in place. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to come over and stitch those stitches over on this side. So hopefully this gives you a little idea of how to get started with your cross stitching. My recommendation is to do kind of colors together if they're in the vicinity. I don't think I have any more of this color. Oh, I have a few over here that I could come and do, so I'll probably do those two. And then you can use that as a reference point. My next color I'll probably start is this little flower color, right? This symbol here, right there. And I'll probably come and do those because those are easy to reach from there. The next thing I'll show you once I get to my next spot is I will show you how to make these little quarter half stitch ones right here. You see how there's that symbol in that side of the square and that symbol in that side of the square. So you're going to just take a half stitch on either of those. And I will show you how to do that in a minute.